and it's just crapped out. How perfect. And it crapped out again. How perfect. That's why we don't care about the live broadcast anymore.
Cool song. What was that?
That's Ears to the Ground Trio out of Harrisonburg, Virginia.
Are they from the Petroleum Free?
Yeah, the Petroleum Free Gypsy Tour. We're going to try to keep it a short show this week. Oh, it wasn't done yet.
The song?
Still a cool song.
Yeah.
It's about the collapse of civilization and the petroleum as an energy source, which will be right probably next week sometime.
Right. Peak oil.
Will you open your door?
So when the FBI knocks on your door, will you open your door?
Good question.
We're going to start with a piece from Jeff Zavala. This is a lecture series on WikiLeaks issues and journalism and how that affects journalism. You got anything to say about that before we play it?
No, let's see the clip. I think it's going to be exciting.
Okay.
I'll talk about it in terms of what is similar to the moment the Pentagon Papers were released and what's different. And I think that helps put in context the importance of WikiLeaks. What's the same between now and 1971 when the Pentagon Papers was released? Number one, in both cases, the United States was engaged in illegal conduct in profoundly immoral wars. And that's often overlooked. The illegality of the U.S. conflict in Iraq and Afghanistan is pretty straightforward. The invasions in 2001 and 2003 were clearly illegal. There was no Security Council authorization for either, nor was there an imminent attack that made them legal as self-defense. So these are conflicts that meet the basic measure of an illegal war, which means that U.S. officials involved in them are war criminals. The same can be said, I think, of the conflict in Vietnam.
That's from an hour and a half video. Just show you a little bit about it. And it's a very informative lecture and series.
Right, and that was by Jeff Zavala. So thanks, Jeff, for the submission. That was a really cool one.
Yeah, that's you can see that, of course, on Mobile Broadcast News. I got a piece up about our school at Blair Grocery in New Orleans, just in time to help them keep the edge off of they just won a 1% revenue grant from a movie called Fresh, which is about eating fresh, local, organic food. And so whatever the revenue, if you see that movie, go see it, and our school at Blair Grocery will get 1% of the revenue for the first year because they won this contest, and this was a little something about it.
During the school year, this is a fully functioning school where students come in at least 4 times a week and have classes involving neighborhood food justice class, they have an urban planning class. Everything's entirely experiential. These are like tomatillos, which are like the little green tomatoes that you find in salsa verde a lot. And a lot of what they really want to do with these is be negotiating with the Honduran taco cart and Mexican taco cart, and be selling them like cilantro and onions and tomatoes from the garden, and having like the students be brokering that deal, and that's like Spanish class. So that's pretty cool. The school could be sustained through just like, because sprouts are pretty easy, you know, like if you look at the greenhouse, they just like go up and they get harvested on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and they're delicious, and people will pay like a lot of money for them, and then you can be growing all the other food on that. Why do you want to have bats? Because they're natural bug killers. I think that like the bees, they're sort of like an integral part to like making a farm run when you're growing different types of things, like pollination things. They're also making honey, and they just like kind of like add to the farm and make it richer.
Yep, I got a couple on me. They're all right.
You nervous?
A little bit. Having a whole bunch of bees on you isn't the most natural thing in the world.
Some of us don't even have protection.
Yeah.
It's really sad.
We're tough.
Yeah. Big man.
I've been coming down here staying.
So that's there'll be one more. There'll be one more video coming from my time spent with our school.
Who was that kid?
You know, I think his name was Cedric. I'm not 100% on it.
He was funny. He's a cutie.
He's quite a tap dancer too, and I appear to have lost footage
Oh
of him tap dancing with crushed Coke cans on his feet.
no. Oh, that's cool.
It's very good. Wish I could find that. I would have shown you that. You want to say something about this one?
Well, sure. This is, who is this? It's a lecture from last Sunday here in Austin, Texas. And it's, what's her first name? Oh, Aviva Chomsky. And this film was done by Jeff Zavala. And this is just an excerpt of a much longer piece. I think it's about a 25-minute video, which you can catch on mobilebroadcastnews.com. And check it out. It's a really cool piece on immigration.
Yeah.
Human beings have been migrating over the face of the planet ever since we first stood upright somewhere in East Africa tens of millions of years ago. See, this history is actually even longer. The idea of controlling immigration or controlling migration is actually very, very new. That is, only in approximately the last 200 years have nation states tried to control how people are moving over the face of the planet. So it's salutary to remember this when we think about, well, what would happen if we stopped trying to control immigration? For tens of thousands of years, the human race had no controls on immigration, and somehow we muddled along, things worked themselves out without immigration controls. It's not impossible to imagine that we could create a new system that did not rely on trying to control people's freedom of movement. So how and when did immigration controls come into play? Think about the history of the United States. And I'm going to be focusing on the United States here, but interesting things are happening elsewhere in the world in some kinds of parallel ways too. Obviously, the first English people to migrate to the United States did not face any immigration restrictions. There was no body capable of enforcing any immigration restrictions. And in fact, they came not as immigrants, but as conquerors. That is, their goal was to displace the native population, to eliminate the native population, and set up their own structures of governance that excluded the native population. So to call it immigration is in a way fallacious. I think we should call it conquest, as we do when we talk about the Spanish, because it was in fact a conquest, not a migration. With the independence of the United States, citizenship was created in this new polity created by English people who had conquered, eliminated, and enslaved non-English people. And the first citizenship law of the new country very clearly restricted citizenship to free white persons. So clearly not everybody living in the polity was a free white person, but only free white persons were eligible for citizenship. So citizenship as a way of dividing the population, as a way of excluding certain people from the rights of citizenship, and in particular as a racially based system of exploiting labor, because what was slavery if not a racially based system of exploiting labor? Using citizenship to justify a racial exploitation of labor and essentially an internal colonial relationship is built.
Sorry, it's a little abrupt.
Yeah. Looks like we're running out of time, huh?
Yeah, we got a few more minutes, and this is gonna be a short show anyway.
Right.
We're gonna keep these short. We don't have a live guest anywhere today, so.
But if you want to see that whole piece, it's on mobilebroadcastnews.com, as are all of these videos.
Yeah, you can watch all of these on Mobile Broadcast News. That's what we're here to tell you. The last piece of the week, these are all, the things we're showing you are all new videos on mobilebroadcastnews.com this week.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a little selection.
Right, you gotta subscribe because there's new stuff all the time.
And this is also sort of about our school at Blair Grocery, but it's more or less about non-hierarchical youth organizing principles at play with the group New York to New Orleans, which the original members of that have now formed. They're not in high school anymore, so they can't be a part of New York to New Orleans. So now they are the Youth Coalition for Community Action, and New York to New Orleans still exists and is taken over by the current crop of high school kids in New York. So this is a little knowledge.
I think why our school at Blair Grocery is so unique is that organizations can do the same thing. The levees break, the houses get blown away. Well, let's just build another levee that's inadequate. Let's just build another house that's inadequate. Our school at Blair Grocery says, no, let's do something else. Let's change people's minds. Let's change how people think. Let's help people organize, give people the skills and resources they need to organize, to empower themselves to affect change on a community level. So that the next time the levees break, you don't have more organizations come in and try and rebuild structures. You have the people come back and say, we need to change something about how this whole neighborhood is being run, about how the decisions are being made in this neighborhood. And if you can start with young people working on a farm, making money by growing good food for their neighborhood, and making the decisions on how to run a farmer's market, you can start to build up to people doing farms across the neighborhood, doing community-wide farmers markets, and starting to make decisions about the whole community runs. And that's where you get to serious levels of empowerment. NY2NO works with our school at Blair Grocery because we, as a youth-led organization, as NY2NO, believe that we are the new minds. We are the young people, not from New Orleans, but from other parts of the country, mainly New York City, but the Youth Coalition for Community Action is now a nationwide organization doing similar stuff, that we are the new minds that are trying to figure out something else to do. That this system, this food system, this system of racism, this system of decision-making isn't working for most people. And we're the new minds trying to figure out what else to do. And we come to work at our school by Grocery to support their community projects, to help renovate the school, to help work on the urban farm, to help work with the young students down here. So young people from New York City and young people in New Orleans working together to figure out solutions to these common problems that we see in both our city and their city.
So that's Guido from Brooklyn, Bed-Stuy.
Yeah, he's an inspirational speaker. How old is that guy, you think?
Guido, I believe, is 18.
And he
17.
went through the program, right?
He's an organizer from the Beacon School in New York. And he's going to be moving out of New York to New Orleans and into Youth Coalition for Community Action this year. I believe he's heading off to college.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So go Guido. That's our show, and we'll see you next week with new pieces that come out between now and then. And as always, go somewhere else and make a difference. You can see it.
I know. Hi. We don't have